Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would tell the witness that I wasn't going to ask any questions today until he brought up the Duke versus UK ball game from ancient history. But I do have some questions that I want to ask now. First of all, are you aware of a piece of software named Pegasus that's provided by NSO Group, Israeli software company?
Yes, sir.
Does the FBI use this program? It looks like they had a license to it for $5 million.
Yeah, so the FBI has not and did not ever use the NSO products operationally or in any investigation. We did buy a limited license for testing and evaluation. Those limited licenses are part of our normal exploratory process to understand what other technologies are out there. But again, we have never purchased it for use operationally or in an ongoing investigation.
So your division hasn't used this spyware domestically?
No, sir.
Have you detected the use of this software domestically?
Sir, there's reporting in the media about Apple filing a lawsuit against NSO, and there's a lot of information in that article. I can't comment further on your question truly due to classification, but if that is of interest to you, we could consider a background briefing.
I would appreciate that very much. Thank you. Executive Order 14028, called Improving the Nation's Cybersecurity, requires agencies to adopt a zero-trust architecture and to achieve certain goals by the end of fiscal year 2024. The FireEye hack was possible because everybody trusted that software. And so I think the zero-trust architecture has merit. Can you tell us if cybercrime or cyber division has taken any steps toward that executive order in adopting zero-trust architecture or promoting that?
Sure. So, I mean, when we look at 14028, which is really tailored towards DHS and CISA's role in the cybersecurity ecosystem, CISA would be responsible for multi-factor authentication recommendations, zero trust. We are absolutely supportive of all those top-line requests because they do move us to a better security posture. From a Bureau perspective, what we're focused on is that executive order should lead to more transparency between government and private sector, standard operating procedures for incident response, alignment between the Bureau and CISA on what incident response is and how to do it effectively.
One of the sort of catch-22s or oxymorons that I see in cybersecurity is in order to be most secure, some platforms and operating systems require real-time updates. And in other words, the argument is that if you detect some kind of vulnerability, you could push out the fix immediately to those platforms. But the problem is hackers use that as a vulnerability in itself. And so, how do you view that trade-off? You mentioned before everybody should have the most recent operating system, and I think that's good advice. But, should we promote, allow, encourage, or should we discourage operating systems that do their own updates without user involvement, without a sort of a two-factor authentication, without some user sitting there saying, okay, I'll accept this update?
Sure. I mean, what you're describing is exactly how SolarWinds was utilized to catalyze a downstream attack in terms of a forced update. What I would simply say is perhaps a third recommendation for people in America, but for corporations, to have daily backups so that if that forced OS update or another update compromises the system, you or your company has a within 24-hour backup that would allow you to restore fairly efficiently with the most relevant data.
My final question, when it comes to security audits, it seems like it's not such a great idea to let the same vendors that are selling the software do the audits. And do you think there's any merit into making sure that these audits are legitimate audits instead of sort of scripts that the vendor provides, the software vendor provides, and then the end user runs the script and then feels secure because now they think they've audited it, but they really don't know what's going on?
Yeah, I just
Time of
think,
the gentleman has expired. The witness may answer the question.
I just think due diligence of vendors and understanding your risk profile as an organization is extremely important. That's based on your own variabilities. Same conversation we have for doing business in China. There's going to be risk. What is your risk tolerance? And what is your due diligence to put your organization in the best position possible?
Thank you. I yield back.